Hey, and welcome to the Art of Meditation, the Art of Intentional Living and Lifting podcast, where we connect the spiritual and the physical by examples, exercises, tools, habits, real life example from me and my students. And I'm your host, Coach Michael, and you can call me Misha. My students submitted a long cycle kettlebell clean and jerk video with the double 32s and committed that he sees the flaws in the technique, that the knees still not locked and the elbows a little bit bent, the overhead fixation position, which is true. However, I replied to him that the funny or the irony is that previously he used to say that about the 24th. So now, when he pushes the 32s, they look like 24th when we started, and now the 24th, which is our goal weight for now, feels like 16s. And this is a concept that, if I'm not mistaken, is taken from the Hebrew Kabbalah teachings, which is in raw translation called the spiral of a just, or a spiral of enlightenment. And it means that when the person is progressing upon his spiritual practices, he meets the same life's circumstances and conditions with different responses and reactions. And this is one of the biggest traps, and especially in our day, because people grew to expect a completely different thing. Now, how many of us have fallen into the trap thinking that if you change the job, the country, your partner, your body, your nose, whatever, that things will be different? Because they won't. Now, I'm not saying that we need to get stuck with same people, jobs, countries, whatever. It's just what drives us is what important. As a sports psychologist told me once, Israeli one, when we talked, he used the term being driven by a filthy fuel. Like if you remember the leaded fuels that people used before they got banned and unknowingly got ill and sick because of that, like breathing the fumes. It's the same thing. It's what internally drives us. It's the reasons behind our actions and usually inability to see the progress we have done. So I had another trainee of mine that come complaining to me that, hey, like my back hurts, like I have my lower back jammed again. And I said, okay, like you're lifting, like shit happens. And he was like, yeah, but I've started this whole thing because my back hurt and now I feel frustrated, like I won't ever escape it. Okay, was my reply. How long this episode lasted now? He thought about it and told me like, I don't know, like maybe a couple of days. Said, all right. And how long this episode lasted before we started training together? Now he thought about it and then it was funny. His eyes like opened like cats who looks at the sun, widened and said like, oh, it was like for weeks and sometimes months. Okay, and how much were you pulling then? He said like nothing. He said, and now, like, now I do 100 kilograms or something. I smiled and went, so let me get this straight. Before we started training, you experienced back pains for weeks and months and you weren't pulling. Now, you had some back issue that was resolved within a couple of days and you're pulling like 100 kgs, which is very respectful for the person in your condition who's not striving to be the world best powerlifter. And he was like completely stunned and said like, I never thought and looked about this like this. And I asked them sincerely, like, okay, what did you expect? And he paused and like, I don't know. Like, I kind of expect that like everything will go away. Oh, so you had an expectations to become a completely different person, like delete your history, like Wolverine, like you get shot in the forehead and you heal and push the bullet out. And he laughed and said, like, well, yeah, kinda. Needless to say that we haven't had this discussion ever again. And this example illustrates perfectly the concept of the spiral of adjust, where we will have the same discussions, arguments with any other spouse or partner, where we need to pay the same bills and have same issues regardless of the country change. And when we train, it never gets easier. You just lift more, run faster, do more kettlebell snatches or jerks within the 10 minutes with higher load. As my student did his long cycle with the 32s, on which his reply was, oh yeah, thanks for the insight. I can see it now. And this spiral is eternal and it continues endlessly. Same as seasons of the year, like the birth and death cycle of everything that is alive and created, be it a star, a human being, an ant, or a grass. And until this cycle continues, we can grow, expand, evolve, just not expect it to be something else. This is us. This is our life. This is our time. And the most fulfilling and gratifying thing will be looking back over our shoulders, saying, wow, how much I have grown and evolved. How much different, elegant, peaceful, mature, and wiser my responses are to the same occurrences, situations, people, countries, jobs, projects, whatever. And then we walk upon the spiral of adjust till the very last day of our lives. And when the time is due to change, we change. Yet we do it from inner light, from being driven by clean and pure fuel of our lives and our existence.